Now, next question. How many of you would feel uncomfortable knowing that the water that you're drinking has pesticides in it from my crops? How many of you would feel uncomfortable if the household chemicals that I use to clean my toilet or my sink or my bathroom or my kitchen was in your water? You still drink it? Still be okay? Okay. Personally, I think that that's disgusting. However, today we're going to learn about why that you need to be conscious of how you dispose of those chemicals, because that is in everybody's drinking water if you don't be conscious. All right, so she said the groundwater, which is where your drinking water comes from. The groundwater supplies a large percentage of drinking water for Indiana. Wells are drilled through the soil and the rock into the groundwater aquifers to supply you guys with drinking water. Unfortunately, they can be contaminated with the improper disposal of pesticides and cleaning, household cleaners. The chemicals percolate through the soil and rock into the aquifer and eventually reach the drinking water wells, where your water comes from. So this contamination can pose a threat to your guys' health if those contaminants get down into the wells. So today we're going to learn about why it is important aquifer systems are in Indiana and across the world. Can anybody give me an example of an aquifer? Of a definition of an aquifer?
Like, it's kind of like a reservoir underground.
That is a very good example. So if you look on your worksheet, today we are going to be, it's pretty much facilitated through what we're going to be talking to you today about. So as I go through, there is vocabulary words. So like I asked, what is an aquifer? Let me just tell you. Number one, it is a natural underground area where large quantities of groundwater fill the spaces between rocks and sediment. Aquifers bear the most important natural resource known to man, which is groundwater. Today, you will be making your own, as you can see the materials in front of you. And the best part is that it's edible.
Yeah.
So, if you participate right, with no problems, you will be able to eat your aquifer. Alright, so in aquifers, the water is much cleaner because most contaminants are filtered out through the sediment walls. And because aquifers are areas of pressure and water, nothing lives in them, including bacteria. There's two types of aquifers. The one we're going to be making today is confining, and I'm going to talk about the unconfining first, seeing as we're not going to be doing that one. An aquifer with an overlain by a layer of impenetrable rock and soil, that's the unconfined one. And then the water table, which is on top of the unconfined aquifer, is a saturated surface sediment where pressure in groundwater matches the atmospheric pressure. Because these aquifers are located just below the surface, they're more prone to be overexploited, especially in highly populated areas. This happens when the water is taken out and can be replenished by precipitation. Leaves the fresh water open, or the fresh groundwater open to contamination. And the small spaces that water can pass through are called porons in the unconfined sediment. So, number 4, what would be number 4? Porons, right? Does anybody know how to spell it? P-O-R-O-N-S. Yeah, number 4 on the paper. Wait, this is number 5.
Yeah, I thought it was number 5.
Yeah, number 5 on the paper. It's porons.
What was 4?
So, it asks the zone in an underground layer or area where air fills most of the pores in the soil and the rock. Is the water table? It's the top of an unconfined aquifer. Does everybody have 1 through 5 on their paper?
2 is
Which one's-
uncombined.
What? Dalton just said it. What was it?
Uncombined.
Did everybody hear that?
2.
Alright, so the second layer, or second aquifer, so, which is the one that we'll be making today, is called confined. Confined aquifers are generally found underneath the unconfined layer aquifers. They are bordered by a layer of impermeable rock, which is called an aquitard. Confined aquifers tend to have more pure water because more layers of sediment further protect the water content. So you would rather want a confined aquifer so that you would have more pure groundwater, thus having more pure
Drinking water.
drinking water. Yes. The saturated zone would be the underground area or layer where water fills water. Note the difference between the unsaturated and saturated is air and water. Fills most of the pores or spaces in the soil and rock. This zone is found under the confined layer. So if you look at numbers 5 through 7, what are these answers? Who has number 5? Porons. Number 6,
Uncombined.
confined.
Aquitard.
Number 7.
Saturated zone.
Alright. Number 7, if you look at what the answer was for aquitard and what the answer was for confined layer, it also says in the definition that would also be a confining layer. So aquitard and confining layer are kind of interchangeable for each other. They mean the exact same thing. So, number 10. Number 7 was aquitard. I'm sorry. Alright. Number 8 is a confining layer. Number 7 and 8 mean the same thing. The definitions are pretty dang close to the same thing. So you can, when we talk about them, the confining layer and the aquitard mean the same thing. So, what would be the underground layer or area where water fills the pores and spaces between the soil and rock?
Confined layer.
Saturated zone, which is number 9. So, now that you know about the different layers within the aquifer, I want to ask you another question. What is conserving water? Saving water. Pretty simple, right? So, now what we're going to do is we're going to show you the steps in which you make an aquifer yourself. And we're going to show you how things that obviously are going to contaminate the water is the main reason why we need to be more conscious of our actions. So, there's a cup. Just pass them back. I set the tables up in rows, so just pass them on back.
Oh, sorry. One table.
Everybody needs a cup. You need pass one back up here.
Oh, I need
There's two. Okay.
I don't need one.
straw.
Oh.
Two.
I'll make one.
thing that we're going to do, we're going to put 3 things in our cup first, right? And these 3 things represent the gravel and the soil. So you need to put a little bit of chocolate chips, a little bit of gummy bears, and then we'll put the ice in your cup for you, alright? Just so you 4 share that cup. Take a little bit, pass it back. Alright.
So I don't need
It doesn't matter, you can just put a bit like that, okay?
kind of up to the
Yeah, it's okay, just put it. Alright, that's good.
So halfway to this line down here.
That's good. Alright, now stay with the gummy bears. Leave your straws on the table. Pass the gummy bears back. Alright, there's only 1 cup. Make sure
It's all right. Get the other cup next to it.
pass it back.
How come?
You good with the chocolate? You guys have extra gummy? Oh, do you guys have extra? Does anybody have extra gummy bears?
Here.
Okay, 1 second.
I got it.
Alright. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did somebody donate some gummy bears? Yeah, we need it. Yeah.
You have one. I got blue ones.
Just take a couple. Good.
That's why we don't have
Go get about half of them. Yeah. You good? We need more. I don't have any more. Alright. So now the next thing we're going to put in there is some pop or the groundwater in our case. Alright. So we're just going to put enough to fill the, just enough to put over the 3 things that you already have in there. Alright.
Like, I don't know who to record.
Alright. So do you guys remember what she said that this pop was for?
Not really.
Right.
Do like
Do some,
Right.
do some.
Right.
Some level.
Right. Right. Why have you there?
Yeah,
Are you guys like the worst class?
no, we just have like fun stuff.
You have Dalton, Ryan, Jack.
Jake. You too.
Mrs. Young, you look at student back there.
Alright, so what did I say that the soda represented in there? Alright, so the soda fills all the spaces among the gummy bears and the chocolate chips, right?
Yeah.
So the aquifer is now saturated with soda, and it's a saturated zone. Alright? So if we weren't making a confined aquifer, we would have it unconfined because we have a water table. Okay? So the soda in this one, if we stopped here, we would have an unconfined aquifer because we don't have any protective layers. This is the soda would be the water table.
So there's no saturated.
There's no extra layers for protection. Like all the contaminants you get that It's okay. Alright. So now we're going to add a layer of ice cream to it. And this is the confining layer. So this is a layer of protection.
Right.
Alright, bring your cups.
No, you're like under.
How about we not mess with the straws?
No, he's got bad ideas.
But you're messing with your
Oh,
straw.
I thought it would be a bad idea.
Let's put the straw on the table.
There you go. You guys just want to bring your cups to me? Yeah. Eric, here.
Go be out.